Living fully alive in every way. You're listening to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol.
Hello again, and welcome to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol. I'm Dr. Carol, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. What happens when you don't have a relationship? I have spent a lot of my life single, and I know there are many of you that are struggling with being single. Now, if you are single because of choice, wonderful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I know that many of you are probably wrestling with, I wish I had somebody. I wish I had somebody to call my own. I've been asked about that recently, and I want to share some things of my own journey that I believe will be encouraging to you, and then some things that my single years taught me that have been so useful. They were useful both during my marriage and now that I am single again after my husband went home to be with the Lord. And I really believe this will be encouraging to you. I lived single until I was 48 years old. I remember being so lonely. I have looked back recently at some of my journals that I wrote during those years before I met my husband, and frequently I would write things about how lonely I was and how painful that was. And God, why don't you just bring me somebody? Is there something seriously wrong with me that nobody wants me? That was such a common and frequent feeling that I had during those single years. I did have some relationships, but they never progressed very far. They never became real close. I dated occasionally, infrequently. Sometimes I would have a relationship with somebody for a period of time, but it never became intimate. It never became permanent. And I really worried that there was something wrong with me. I remember when I was in medical school, there were a group of us unmarried young women that on Valentine's Day got together for a meeting of what we called the Lonely Hearts Club and, tried to cheer each other up and whatever. Over the following years, many of my classmates got married, and they looked so happy to me, and I wanted that. I hungered for that kind of a relationship, and it just wasn't happening. God, why aren't you doing that for me? In my early 40s, I came to the conclusion that marriage just would not be something that would happen for me. And I got past the sour grapes. I got past the poor me, and I embraced the reality that this was my life. And I got past the feeling sorry for myself enough that I chose to see what God would have for me as a single woman. I learned during that period of time what it meant to experience God as my husband. Now, that's not some weird mystical thing. It was just I learned to understand what it was like for Jesus to be enough for me. That was a process. That was hard, and it didn't come easy. It was only after all of that that God brought Al Tainsley into my life. We had a very loving marriage. I came to understand what it was to experience intimacy, to be cherished. I know that many people never get to experience that kind of loving marriage, and I was incredibly grateful and blessed through that period of time. But now that I am single again, many of the lessons that I learned before I got married as a single person have again become a blessing to me. Some of those things that I learned, I know will be a blessing to you as well, and I have 3 of them that I want to share. The first I've alluded to already. Come to experience God as your source. As human beings, it's very natural for us to expect and look for another human being to meet our deepest needs. our deepest needs for intimacy, for sex, for provision, for companionship, for understanding, and a multitude of other things. That's normal. God built us to need relationship, and that's healthy. But when you look to human beings to meet something that only God can fulfill, you will always be disappointed, whether there is someone in your life or not, whether you are married or single. Understanding how and learning how to go to God for your deepest needs is so important, regardless of your marital status. Once you have learned that, you can feel fulfilled whether or not you're married. If you don't learn to go to God as your source and you do get married, you will be disappointed, because there is no human being, husband or wife, that can do for you what only God can do for you. Learn to bring the empty places in your soul to Him. Learn what it means to have Him feel you. Get your validation from God. It's so easy to look to a husband or a wife to reflect back, am I good enough? Am I desirable? Am I beautiful or strong enough? Or do I have what it takes? Those are things you have to learn to get from God. And when you learn to go to Him as your source, you can be fulfilled. Number 2 thing that I learned as a single was that I could choose to be happy. That I didn't have to wait for anybody else or any other circumstances to be happy. I believe it was Abraham Lincoln who is credited with saying, I have come to believe that people are about as happy as they choose to be. I believe that is so true. Regardless of circumstances, our happiness is a choice. And here's a truth that may be a little painful. You will never be happy married unless you learn to be happy single. Intentionally choose your mental emotional state. You can be happy regardless of the circumstances. Maybe it would be better to say joyful, because happiness can be tied to external things. There's something about choosing to focus on the positive, about determining that you will be responsible for your own thoughts and feelings and emotions. Take ownership of that and decide to be happy. That is possible. As you learn to do that, it will serve you well regardless of your marital status or of your circumstances in any area of life. Choose to be filled up. Learn to feed yourself. God makes an infinite variety of physical food available. He makes grain grow in the field. He makes fish swim in the sea. But He doesn't harvest the grain, grind it, bake the bread, and hand you a sandwich. He doesn't catch the fish and bake it and give it to you on a plate. We are responsible to know when we're hungry. Some food tastes better than others, and some food is healthier than others. We're responsible to choose the food, find it, prepare it, and take it into our being. It's the same with our emotional and spiritual nourishment. There is an infinite variety of emotional, spiritual nourishment that God makes available. We are responsible to know when we need that, to find it, choose it, and decide to take it into our being. We don't wait for somebody else to feed us so that we can be happy. Take responsibility to feed yourself. You're an adult, so intentionally choose to spend time with positive people. Find uplifting media that you can take into your soul. Find godly things that fill you up, and do more of that. You can choose to be happy. intentionally take ownership of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, of your well-being. Number 3, the thing that I learned, if you want a relationship, focus on becoming the right person instead of finding the right person. If you want to marry a prince, become a princess. If you want to marry a princess, become a prince. Become the person that your ideal spouse will find attractive. That means things like the kind of emotional state that your ideal spouse would find attractive. We just talked about that in Becoming Happy. It means be involved in life. Get involved with other people. Look outside yourself. Your ideal spouse is not going to find someone attractive who is focusing on poor me, who is lonely and miserable and unhappy in life. Why would they want to connect with you? Why would they want to connect with somebody that's just sitting back and waiting to be rescued? That is an unhealthy relationship, even if that were to develop. Become the kind of person, the right person that your ideal spouse would find attractive. Grow in your relationship with God. Become someone that can feed themselves, that has something in themselves to give to others. Get involved with giving, whether that's in a volunteer organization, in church, in a vocation that is helping others. Learn things. Be interested in life. Be interested in people. Proverbs says, if you want a friend, show yourself to be friendly. Become interested in other people, and they will be interested in you. The most interesting person is someone who is interested in others. Ask questions. Find out about people. Give of yourself to others, and you will become someone that is attractive. Those things are invaluable to my life now as an, again, single person. Number 1, know God as your source. Come to experience Him as the one who is filling you up. Number 2, choose to be happy. You are as happy as you choose to be. Learn to take ownership. You will never be happy married unless you learn to be happy single. And number 3, if you desire a relationship, become the right person. Focus on becoming the right person rather than looking for the right person. I hope those 3 ideas are helpful to you if you are single and hoping for, perhaps praying for a spouse. You know, the single life has challenges. It has some unique things that God can do with you as a single person, but there's also very real challenges. Loneliness. What do you do with sexuality? How do you handle relationships? How do you handle the possibility of a relationship? What are some things to look for in a spouse if you want to be married? Is it okay to not want to be married? All those aspects of the single life, God has a lot to say about. Here in Dr. Carroll Ministries, we are expanding what we make available to single people. In the show notes for this episode, you will find a link where you can request resources for the single life every time we make one of those available. Once or twice a month, we are making a particular article or other resource in some way available especially for singles. If you are single and would like access free to those resources for singles whenever we make them available, go to the show notes in this episode and just click on that link, and you'll be able to request those and get them every time we make resources for singles available. There is something unique and special that God has available for those that do not have a spouse. A very deep level of intimacy that Jesus offers. I pray that for you. I wish that for you. It is available. It is possible. I will keep you in my prayers. I invite you to go to the show notes and sign up for our singles resources. And until next time, may God bless you.
Thank you for listening to Relationship Prescriptions with Dr. Carol. Our purpose is to provide trustworthy resources that help you and others live fully alive in every way as God intended. If you would like to help others experience transformation in their lives and relationships, we invite you to partner with us. Text the word GIVE, that's GIVE, to the number 512-980-1620. Or visit our website at drcarolministries.com/donate to make a one-time contribution or monthly gift. Your financial support allows us to expand our message and to help others. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.